Hey, welcome back. Today we're looking at Monday, episode 14 of season 6. Premiering February 28th, 1999, Monday places Mulder and Scully in a Groundhog Day-styled time loop, and the only way out of it might be by their own demise. But probably not though. The episode begins with a whole bunch of police surrounding a bank. I don't know what the hell is going on, but Skinner suddenly walks up, so I can only assume Mulder's gotten himself in trouble again.
Do I know you?
Stop this! Don't let this happen!
Sorry lady, but Skinner only goes for the classier prostitutes. Oh hey, it's Scully. I wonder what she's doing in the bank. Alright, so Mulder's not doing so hot, but why does this guy look like a fish when you take them out of water? Well, that's one way to end your show. I guess if you want to stretch the episode out to 40 minutes, you've got to start back at the beginning? I mean, how else do you explain cutting to Mulder in bed when we just saw him die? See, this is exactly why I don't have a waterbed. Hey, remember Radio Shack? Anywho, it looks like the water shorted out Mulder's clock, so he's a tad late for work. But since when has that ever mattered? Half the time, Mulder doesn't even show up.
What are you doing down here, Mulder?
Having the best damn day of my life. Any moment I'm about to burst into song. Zippity-doo-dah.
Whoa, you can't sing that song. Disney buried that one for a reason, mister. Mulder's not having a great start to his day. However, he decides now is the perfect time to deposit his check, since the one he just handed his landlord might bounce. Now, you would think an FBI agent would have some money in the bank, but considering how often Mulder takes off on little adventures, it's hard not to see why he's so broke. I mean, I doubt the FBI is paying him so he can jump onto moving trains.
Hey man, you need to watch it next time. You watch it.
Wow, she's really good at throwing her voice. Anyways, Mulder is off to the bank, but for some reason this woman, Pam, finds it odd that Mulder looked at her. I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the fact that you look strung out? I didn't know Los Angeles City Hall was in Washington, D.C. Wow, I'm learning so much about America. To his is a robbery. I don't know what that means.
However, there is some dispute that the statistical methodology in this ladder...
Holy crap, this might be the most boring presentation I've ever heard. Skinner gives Scully a little crap because Mulder isn't there to give his report to the class. Meanwhile, Mulder's still waiting in line and doing his best to pretend that he actually cares about missing work. Wow, Bernard's penmanship somehow changed since we last saw him. All that writing, and what does he do? He pulls out a gun. Could have saved a lot of time if he just started out that way. This seems like a bad place to put an alarm switch, no? I feel like I would be kicking that damn thing all the time. Anyway, Scully decides this is the perfect time to join Mulder at the bank. Her timing is impeccable. If that stupid woman had not screamed, Mulder would not have been shot. Might as well put the gun down, Scully. Bernard came packing a cartoonishly looking bomb. I'm surprised it doesn't say Acme on it. Skinner's wife comes in to tell him what's going on down at the bank, and we are right back where we started. How many times now has Scully had to stop Mulder from dying?
What's your name?
Yeah.
Look, I gotta call you something, right? How about Steve? It's nice.
Bernard.
Scully, now's not the time for flirting. If someone gives this man a sack with a $sign on it, I'm pretty sure he'll leave. Can someone explain to me what's so spooky about a bank robbery anyways? Oh great, so they're dead. Again. Wait, what the hell is going on? We're starting the episode all over again? Well, that's a really stupid idea. Hey, welcome back. Why does this feel like deja vu? We're treated once again to Mulder's leaking waterbed, and more importantly, his very, very thin pajama pants. Look, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think the only person who hates Mondays more than Mulder is Garfield.
Monday. The most horrible, awful nightmare of a day in the whole week.
Who you calling?
Nobody.
What do you mean nobody? It's gotta be somebody.
She's not a very good liar. Also, this was back in the day when you could just look someone up in a phone book and call them, or in me and my friends' cases, prank call them. So Bernard decides he's going to rob a bank, though Pam has to act like she has no idea what the hell he's talking about. I like how he mentions that he doesn't care if he loses his job mopping floors, but I don't know, man, a job's a job. I get it, it sucks, but we've all had those dreams about going into work and blowing the place up with a Kamehameha times 10. Huh, that feels oddly specific. Mulder is once again opening up his check, though it looks like he took a bite out of it. He starts ranting about all the things that led to him being late for their meeting, so to shut him up, Scully decides to take his check and deposit it herself. Oh, now it's a holdup. I thought it was a robbery before. Oops, looks like Scully forgot something. On his way to correct Scully's very obvious mistake, Mulder runs into Pam, who tries to warn him about her boyfriend's intent to rob the bank and maybe make it go kablooey. Good luck stopping this man. You have no idea what he would do for Scully. You know, at least this time Mulder isn't bleeding to death. I like how Mulder calls Bernard by his name. Scully looks at him like, how the hell do you know that? Well, I mean, he is spooky Mulder after all. One of the very smart bank tellers lets Bernard know that she sounded the alarm. Way to go, moron. Alright, so everybody is dead thanks to Little Miss couldn't keep her mouth shut. Wait, we're not starting from the beginning again, are we? You'd have to be insane to start your show from the beginning for a third time. What the hell is going on? Once again, we're treated to leaky water beds, clocks that don't work, and angry landlords. Though I like how Mulder just seems to get more annoyed each time he wakes up. Pam goes on one of those FBI tours and is just allowed to wander around, I guess, though she does warn Scully that she and Mulder should probably stay away from the bank.
If you walk in that bank, you'll die. Both of you.
Also, this is oddly specific. Why does no one take this as a threat? Poor Pam must not know that Scully can't die though because she is immortal. Mulder pops in the office and has the strangest case of deja vu, as if he experienced this same day over and over. You don't say. Scully explains the strange run-in she just had with Pam, so Mulder decides to deposit his check at the ATM. But would you look at that, it's out of service. Could be worse though, it could be telling you to kill people. Mulder spots Pam across the street and the two have a nice little conversation about her boyfriend blowing up the bank. It's funny how she fixates on Mulder and Scully though, when there are plenty of other people who end up dying in the bank as well. I guess they don't matter?
You're the variable. It has to be you. I have tried everyone else.
Well, do I feel called out? Alright, so she did try those other people, my bad. Mulder decides to go to the meeting instead, but where the hell is Scully? Off looking for Mulder at the bank, apparently. Do these two ever just stay put? Scully arrives at the bank just as Bernard decides to pull his gun on everyone, once again proving just how impeccable her timing is.
Oh God, you're gonna shoot us! Oh God, he's gonna shut up! He's gonna shoot us! Please don't kill us, please!
Oh my god, if she doesn't shut up, I'm gonna shoot her.
Drop your weapon!
Well, thank God, finally someone put an end to this nightmare. Well, except no, Mulder didn't, because Bernard still sets off that bomb anyways. The episode starts from the beginning for a fourth time. So what, nothing this time? The day plays out the same as always. Waterbed, late, bank, Mulder has his little conversation with Pam, rinse and repeat. Though this time Mulder seems to fixate on Bernard, as if he knows something about him. Instead of doing anything rash, he calls Scully and tells her what's going on. Well, mostly. Scully talks to Pam and those two have a nice little chat. Mulder then gives Bernard his gun and tells him he can change his fate. I get it, Mulder, you've seen the Terminator movies. Bernard decides he likes his fate the way it is and pulls the gun on all the people in the bank. Way to go, Mulder, you jackass. For some reason, Scully casually walks inside the bank alongside Pam. So Mulder called up Scully knowing this guy has a bomb and told her to bring his girlfriend and put them all at risk? Fantastic, Mulder. Mulder starts sounding crazier than Bernard when he goes on about the day repeating itself over and over again. Even if they do get out of this, Mulder should probably have his head checked for a tumor. Mulder finally tells Scully that Bernard has a bomb, but I feel like he probably should have told her this before she went inside the bank.
You son of a bitch! No!
Oh, now you've really screwed up, Bernard. Hurry the hell up, Miss Medical Doctor. You know, I do like how neither Mulder or Scully put pressure on her wound. Scully sure had no issue applying pressure when Mulder was bleeding to death, but some poor woman? Nah, let her die. Well, at least they made it to Tuesday. Scully calls up Mulder asking how the hell he knew all this was gonna go down. But I mean, it's Mulder. Does he ever really know? Wait, dog spread flu epidemic? What the hell is an epidemic? Monday is one of the better episodes of Season 6. Yes, it's the classic time loop paradox you see in many shows and movies, but I think the X-Files does a good job putting their own spin on it. Now, it's revealed that Pam is the cause of this loop. Her death is what finally puts an end to it, but I'm curious how the rest of her day goes after the explosion. Does she just sit around and watch the same TV show? Does she get questioned by the police all day? What if she decided to pull an all-nighter and stay up until it became Tuesday? Would some unforeseen force her to fall asleep so the day could start all over again? I know these are stupid questions, but I demand answers, damn it! Also, I don't think Pam was the cause of this at all, because if you remember, Scully can't die, yet she does every time she enters that bank. So what I think is happening is the universe is resetting itself and correcting something that shouldn't take place. See, this is what happens when you make a main character immortal. The stakes are all lowered because you know nothing bad can ever happen to them. But regardless, this is just a fun episode. There's nothing really spooky about it or even X-Files, I would say, but it's an entertaining concept that is played both comedic and tense at the same time. And you know what? None of this would have happened if Mulder hadn't switched places with Morris and got that damn waterbed. So this is really all his fault.
What?
Despite what people usually assume, this episode wasn't actually inspired by Groundhog Day. According to writers Vince Gilligan and John Sheban, the actual inspiration was an old episode of The Twilight Zone called Shadow Play. Gilligan even joked about this years later, saying, "The funny thing about Monday is people seem to really like it a lot, but people always sort of smiled and said, 'You're sort of ripping off Groundhog Day, aren't you?' And I'd say, we're not ripping off Groundhog Day, we're ripping off The Twilight Zone. So yeah, get it right, nerds." The original title for this episode was actually Mobius, named after the Mobius strip. You know, that looping one-sided ribbon thing, named after mathematician August Ferdinand Mobius, which I obviously know all about and didn't do a quick 30-second Google search. Gilligan and Sheban apparently wrote this one under extreme pressure right after Christmas break, which seems to happen a lot on this show, though the loop structure actually made it faster than usual since so many scenes repeat with only slight differences. Meanwhile, director Kim Manners had the opposite experience, because he had to shoot the same sequences up to 5 times. He diagrammed every camera angle in advance to make sure each replay felt stylistically fresh, rather than just reusing the same footage. His first assistant director, Bruce Carter, even deconstructed the entire script and rebuilt it as a complete timeline, where every character was, what they were doing, and when they were doing it each time the day reset. And if that wasn't enough, Carter also survived a plane crash in the Alaskan bush before getting into Hollywood. Honestly, he was probably the most qualified person on set to deal with a script where people keep dying over and over again. But hang on, he survived a plane crash? Kinda like how the characters in Final Destination avoided their date with death, and Final Destination started off as an X-Files script. I feel like there might be a connection there. Vince Gilligan also sneakily worked in a couple references to his wife Holly Rice. The Craddock Marine Bank is named after a suburb she grew up in, and Bernard is named after her mother's maiden name. I'm assuming naming a guy with a bomb after your mother-in-law is either very sweet or very concerning. Production-wise, this episode went through a ton of weird challenges. That waterbed Mulder wakes up on, they actually had to order it from a specialized store in San Francisco, because apparently nobody in the late 90s was still selling waterbeds. Mulder's paycheck and envelope were designed only after production contacted the actual FBI to ask what their checks look like, which is probably a phone call that gave at least one government employee a heart attack. The bank robbery scenes required shutting down 4 full city blocks. Manners used 11 cameras for the exterior sequences, and a couple of them actually got caught on camera by accident. They had to go back and erase them in post. Pam's exhausted hairstyle was actually Carrie Hamilton's idea, and they had to create an exact wig replica for her stunt double. Speaking of Pam, casting her was tricky. They needed someone who looked haunted, someone you could feel sorry for without immediately thinking that maybe she belonged in an institution. According to casting director Rick Milliken, they saw way more actresses than usual before landing on Carrie Hamilton, daughter of Carol Burnett and Joe Hamilton, and her godmother, Julie Andrews, so that's quite the Hollywood lineage. Carrie had battled addiction in the 80s, did a lot of theater and film work, and while she wasn't a big celebrity, she was a respected performer. Sadly, this was one of her final roles before she passed away in 2002 at just 38 years old from lung and brain cancer, which is way too young. This episode is actually mentioned in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, specifically the Season 6 episode Life Serial. Warren mentions the one where the bank kept exploding.
Or Mulder in that X-Files where the bank kept exploding.
Scully wants me so bad.
What's interesting is this actually ties back to Carrie Hamilton in a way. Carrie Hamilton starred in the 1988 film Tokyo Pop, written and directed by Fran Rubel-Kazooie, the same Fran Kazooie who directed Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and whose production company Kazooie Enterprises still owns part of the rights to the Buffy character, even though neither she nor her husband Kaz Kazooie had anything to do with the actual Buffy TV series. They still got producer credit due to the rights deal though, so we have Carrie Hamilton, Tokyo Pop, Fran Kazooie, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then Warren referencing this episode years later. It's basically 6 degrees of the X-Files. Monday currently sits at 8.7 on IMDb, which is pretty high up there. I feel like this is one of the stronger episodes of the season, and I'll probably give it an 8. Up next, Mulder and Scully get to play house as they investigate a planned community where some of its residents appear to be going missing. In the episode, Arcadia.
Bring it on.
So what do you think of Monday? Let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you're having a great start to the week and stay spooky.
Would you sacrifice yourself?
Don't go in the bank.
I'm sorry, do I know you?
To change the future?
She said that we'd die.
Something very bad is going to happen here today.
Some of my ages might be in there.
It doesn't have to end like this.
Yeah. The X-Files, an all-new episode, Sunday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.
Huge thanks to all my channel members, you're the real MVPs of the Spooky Squad. Your support helps keep the lights flickering and the monsters fed. If you'd like to join up and help support the channel, check out the join button below. But no pressure, just watching and liking helps a ton too. What the fuck?